I want to experience all aspects of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game at their fullest extent, and in order to do that I've decided to start from scratch while locking my progress behind the joy of opening booster packs and trading with fellow duelists. We're reliving my childhood love for the game while also building towards competitive success. Or in other words, we are playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Properly. Aye! Subscribe. Well, it's regional time, baby. If it wasn't for YCS London, our entire playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Properly journey would be coming to a climax in this episode, so let's make it a banger. It doesn't get much better than the last one, where we actually pulled Guardian Chimera sealed only style, smashed first place at locals, and then pulled a Psychic and Punisher on top of all that. There's still a good few key cards we need before this regional, including the pinnacle, most expensive card of the entire deck, Bestial Lubellion. Let's get it, baby. It's lock point time. This episode is sponsored by ExpressVPN. Notice how I just hacked into your video watching experience. Crazy, right? What if I also wanted to steal your private information? Lucky for you I don't, but if you had ExpressVPN encrypting your network data, I just couldn't anyway. What if I decided only people from Scotland can watch my videos? I guess you could just change your location through ExpressVPN and watch them anyway. This also works on things like Netflix, it's pretty handy. Okay, hear me out. What if I wanted to buy your browsing data from your internet service provider? Wait, what do you mean there isn't any? Oh. Of course, ExpressVPN stops that too. You can pretty much just browse the web with peace of mind under ExpressVPN, and the best thing is I can get you 3 months for free if you use my link in the description below. Thanks again to ExpressVPN for sponsoring this video. You know, I really wish I could say we were opening 3 Trap Trick structure decks today, getting ourselves a nice playset of evenly matched for the side deck, because that card is just so insane in the side deck right now, but this is the regional episode, and if we want to play our deck at full power, we need a Bestial Lubellion. Now, we have a lot of jank, but it doesn't quite get us to the trade value of Lubellion, so we're really hoping for something big today, or Lubellion itself, who knows? That's why we have gone all into the Darkwing Blast, 8 packs in total. If we're not pulling Lubellion itself, Fenrir is like the best chance we get at trading into it, or a Starlight, but you know how that goes, man. We just don't pull Starlights on this channel. Amazonas Augusta, we have Naturia Camellia, Prediction Princess Biblio Muse. We can also pull the Bestials, of course, Magnamut, Durasworm. We have Dynamite Powerload, the Draco Slayer as our first holo here. And Telemans Heartbeat, Cucumber Horse in the first pack. God damn. What else are we gonna pull? We'll definitely have enough value to trade into it for YCS London at the very least. But dude, I really want to be able to play it full power for this regional. Camellia, we have Silent Wolf Kalupo, War Chief, Tesla, Blackwing Chinook, the Snow Blast. Not a Bestial, so we don't care. We really don't care. 2 supers. Alright, what else are we going to pull? Yorishiro of the Aqua, Laughing Puffin, Amazonas War Chief, Freki the Runic Fangs, an Effect Monster. Fuck you. Fuck you, fuck you, dude. Zep, Ruby of the Goatee, Ultra Rare. How unfortunate. Absolutely trash, man. Are we gonna get anything else? We have Tesla, Amazonas Pet Liger King, Yorishiro of the Aqua, Kashtira Ogre, Snopios, Shade of the Goatee. We're just adding to our Goatee core in the binder. We are halfway through our packs, probably got 99p to show for it, or something like that. Dear Limit's Grief. Zonda the Dust, we have Scareclaw Decline, a Link Monster, Donner, Daggerfire. This actually seen play in a deck. I can't remember what the deck was, though. It was to out a certain card. It was at YCS Leon. Can't remember what the deck was, though. A couple of Tier Limits cards, Scareclaw cards, very cool. 3 packs remain. What are we gonna pull? Biblio Muse, we have Amazonas War Chief, Hanshi, Kudo Spirit, Augusta. Can we get at least a Bestial? Magnamut, baby, let's go. Okay, so we already have our playset, of course, now. So this is just purely trade bait. 12, 13 pound. Might actually be able to put this towards a Lubellion and have enough to make it worth trading into it. Okay, okay. That's changed things a little bit there. 2 packs left. If we could pull like another Durasworm, or I guess another valuable super like Saronir, we might be in a decent position here. Tilting Entrainment, Vernisylph in full bloom. You, what? Dude, no, there's no way. Bro, there is actually no way. Oh, I'm so happy right now. Dude, literally 2 episodes in a row. We got Chimera and look at the cut on this. This is so off-center. Kashtira, Fenrir, man. Let's fucking go. We can trade this for Lubellion. Happy fucking days, baby. Dude, that is so off-center. That's crazy. Dude, how much is this right? This is like £40, £45 right now. This plus the Magnamute? What an opening. This is 2 great openings in a row. That could be Lubellion right there. I seen Lubellion was like, there was a couple for like £100 on eBay, which is mad. I assume because people are starting to cotton on to the fact that Branded Despia is like the best deck, baby. But dude, if we get a Starlight as well, how sick would that be? Or like a Druid Worm, it's a trap card. We have Sprite Double Cross, very nice super rare there. I can't fucking believe we actually got the Fenrir and a Magnamute to go alongside it. Oh shit! Alright, we need to find someone that is willing to trade off a Lubellion for a off-center Fenrir. That's so weird. It's like miscut, off-center. Dude, I don't know. Holy! It's not quite Lubellion, but it might just be enough to get us there. We have 1 more locals coming up before the regional, and coincidentally, it's also a Trap Trick structure deck release event, so every entry gets a structure deck, and you know what that means. Give me those Ash Blossoms and evenly matched. Slurp, 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 yum, 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 yum. With this being the last locals before the regional, I bombarded the shit out of the local Discord with trade posts, and we might just have a couple of things lined up, thank God. Lubellion, baby! Most valuable trade of the series so far. Kirk. You may savage my binder.
Savage and binder. I have to remember what I actually needed.
Look for the white door.
Alright, binder has been ravaged. Scorpio, practice, say goodbye to the plants. Fenrir, Alba, there's a big juicy trade, but it's worth it. The act of desperation for the regional. Gimmick Puppet Nightmare, baby.
Joke's on you when Reesmer gets discovered as a hand man.
There you go, Magnamute. There you go, you plus 2 times. You got it for £2, and then you plus 50%. Nice. Reese just came over and dropped off 2 Dark Holes as throw-ins for our trade before, so if we need it, we have it for the regional. We'll take it, let's go. We have Evenly's, Ashes, Duster, completing our deck. Jamie, you want a Lady Labyrinth.
Yes, sir.
And one of my Druid Worms.
Shane, one.
God, it's so blurry. 1 Druid Worm, 1 Lady. For you, thank you very much.
After a hard day's graft, we've actually managed to get everything we need, including the structure deck bits for the regional, which is huge, but obviously before heading home, we had to actually play in the tournament, so chucking the Lubellion into our deck for the first time felt nice. No feature matches because we of course have the regional to go to in this episode, but round 1 we played against Cameron's Labyrinth and took that 2-0 because he just couldn't get his engine going. Round 2 we played against Kelby's Draco Slayer deck, and once again, 2-0. We played through Necro Valley, which was quite interesting. Round 3 we put up double Masquerade against Punk Gold Pride, and they paid their way to an early grave, 2-0, taking us to the final round at the top table versus Kirk's Branded Despia, the man himself who gave us the Lubellion, and we take it down 2-0 once again. We didn't even drop a game today. Absolute flawless victory, and a juicy mat to take home that I've already sold to Jess for 40 quid. Well, there's nothing quite like a back-to-back cheeky locals dub. I'm feeling so confident for this regional now. We are popping off. Like, literally didn't drop a single game today, so I didn't really get a chance to side for going first, which is interesting because I didn't get to test the side deck, but also I guess kind of implies that we sided well. Yeah, I don't know, it's a weird dynamic, but we have some prize support here. Structure deck, beware of trap tricks because it was the structure deck event. £15 entry, but everyone gets a structure deck, and this will complete at least the current version of the deck, I think. We don't really need anything else. We did get some OTS packs as well. We can pull some juicy bangers in here, and honestly, because we don't need anything anymore for the regional, we're just pulling for techs for YCS London. So we can trade into like Imperms, other side deck cards in preparation as the format changes leading up to the YCS at the end of March or start of April. But let's get into what we actually get today. Obviously, we've opened a bunch of these Trap Trick structure decks on the channel already. We've done our original opening, and we've done our 3 times structure deck profile. You can go check that out if you want to. We don't really need anything else in here. Really good structure deck, but, of course, evenly matched. Ash Blossom to complete our play sets, and we don't even need the Harpy's Feather Duster actually because we already traded into it. Why did I trade into the Duster? We get one in the structure deck. God, I'm so stupid. But Ash and Evenly, and with that we are regional ready, baby. But let's see if we can pull anything juicy. Let's pull the Ulti Allure. That's what I want. Let's get a rarity bump for our regional deck. Abyss Dweller common, very cool. Mimesis Elephant, and it is a super rare Herald of Orange Light, not newly limited, but most recently limited on the Forbidden Limited list. If we are going to pull Ulti, we want it out of 21 to maximize our value from our packs here. What do we have? Amaze, Attraction, Majestic Merry-Go-Round. It is a super rare Sacred Sword of 7 stars, and Light of the Branded Rarity Bump. I've seen a few people actually teching this card in, so might be worth holding on to that for the future. Or do we already have it? No, we haven't opened Photon Hypernova. Have we? Dude, I can't remember. I don't think we have. And our final pack here, we're not going to get an LT. First place just never gets ultis, dude. Gishki Aqua Mirror, Trap Hole of Spikes, and Sprite Red. Super rare. Really nice rarity bump for the Sprite deck, but yeah, it's nothing out of our OTS packs that we really want to use or can really trade off. Doesn't matter. Our deck's finished. Let's win the regional. We could trade the mat, but that's I think that's unfair.
Sit back, enjoy the ride. We're on our way. One track, no turning back. Forget yesterday.
Cheeky little premiere and stay. Don't mind if I do the night before regionals. Just here by myself, unfortunately. Kind of lonely, but we can do test hands on the bed, I guess. I'm not cut out for the morning drive down to regionals anymore, man. I'm always too tired to play, so gotta get a good night's rest before we take the dub home. Here we go at Comic Crazy in Paisley. Round 1 of the regional. We win the die roll against our Sword Soul opponent here and open a pretty nice hand. We start things off with an Albion in hand, essentially the upstart goblin dumping Branded Sword to draw a card, and then we kind of blow it from there. Our next action is normal summon Keeper, discard an Edge Imp Chain, which is a wild combo in of itself. However, we had Fusion Deployment in hand, which should have been our next action and would have prevented us from getting dicked on by this Imperm. There's no logical gameplay reason as to why I did this. I think I hyper-fixated on Keeper, discard an Edge Imp Chain, and I just shitted the game first thing in the morning. Activating the chain on resolution, we get a search for Patchwork and then fire off the Patchwork, which gets ashed. Questionable ash, to be honest, because then our opponent just gets punished by hard-drawn Branded Fusion or Branded Opening. Of course, we have neither of those, though, and just pass turn there with Fusion Deployment in hand. Like, there is not a world where you don't activate Fusion Deployment this turn. It really hurts watching this back. After going undefeated 2 locals in a row, we play the worst turn of our lives when it actually counts at this regional. So when my brain eventually catches up and I realize what a huge mistake that entire turn was, I get really tilted. You know, great start to the regional, but yeah, our opponent starts off with a Sword Soul Emergence, and we do have the Ash Blossom for that. This forces them into a not so explosive 10E line thanks to their hand not being completely cracked. So they special summon Ashuna from hand to link into Monk, special summon Vishuddha from hand, activate the Ashuna effect, engrave to summon Adhara, and then synchro into Chixiao, who searches Taya. They then proceed to activate the Vishuddha effect, engrave to bounce the Keeper, which I would understand if you were going for game, but given as an additional starter for the next turn, I mean, I guess because we got stopped by a couple of interruptions on turn 1, they expect to be able to stop us with a couple of interruptions on turn 3, but it's probably safer just to beat over the Keeper there. Going into the battle phase, they punch for some damage and then set a card before passing it back to us. Drawing for turn, at this point I had finally realized how stupid I was in turn 1 and had potentially thrown the game, but we fire off the Patchwork as our first action, getting a search for Poly and Edge Imp Chain. Now finally firing off the Fusion Deployment, we reveal the Granny Dragon and summon out Cartesia from the deck before normal summoning Keeper and activating its effect. Our opponent chains another Imperm. I don't know if they drew it for turn or if they already had it in their opening hand, but chain Cartesia to that to dodge the Imperm, obviously chain Chixiao. Both of our monsters are negated, and that's all the interruptions played through now. Our last available action is to pray. We fire off the Polymerization, fusing our 2 monsters on board with the Edge Imp Chain in hand for the Guardian Chimera. If we draw Branded Fusion off of this effect, we win the game. However, if we don't, we lose. Drawing our last pathetic card, we clean up our opponent's board and go to the battle phase. Yeah, we didn't draw Branded Fusion, never lucky. We definitely threw game 1, but it is what it is. Game 2, going first once again here, we start off with a Branded Opening, discarding a Polymerization, special summoning Aluber from the deck, and it gets impermed. That's kind of just how you expect the Sword Soul matchup to go, I guess. Our hand's not the greatest, I'm not the best branded player, I didn't open Branded Fusion, but we can still play. So firing off a Patchwork, we get a search for Chain and Polymerization. Activating Albion in hand, dumping the Branded Sword, hopefully we can draw into like Branded Fusion or Keeper of Dragon Magic. Doesn't happen, so we just activate Poly, using the Aliber with the Edge of Chain for a Masquerade. Chain grabs us another Patchwork, we set one, and pass turn. It is really not looking good at this point, not gonna lie. Our opponent starts off with a Lightning Storm on our one humble back row, and we're forced into a decision that honestly kind of seems like we're losing either way, but we do chain the Branded Expulsion, tributing the Masquerade, summoning Aliber back to our field and Edge Imp Chain to our opponent's field. That way, at least if we do manage to survive, we actually have a follow-up. So Aliber's going to activate on someone, grabbing us a copy of Branded Fusion. Thank God, finally we get it to our hand. What I didn't know is that this play actually cucks our opponent slightly, because they can't special summon Cartesia from the hand because we now both control the same amount of monsters. So they normal summon the Ecclesia, activate the effect to most likely special summon Moye from the deck, and once again we have the Ash Blossom here, and they're out of a normal summon, so it's pretty good. So good, in fact, that they set one back row and pass turn. Finally, we get to resolve a Branded Fusion, and the rest is history. Their back row is a Book of Eclipse that they do flip to try and survive, but we draw 4 in the end phase, and that's, yeah, it's GG. Game 3 going second, we open no interruptions, and our opponent sets up a typical Sword Soul board, and we get barriered. Woo! Okay, so round 2. Coming into this event, one of the matchups I didn't want to see in the tournament was Naturia Runic, because this was one of the decks at the time that I still wasn't entirely familiar with. And of course, lo and behold, round 2, we lose the die roll to the only Runic Naturia player in the venue, and I actually just want to die. They're on like stun Naturia Runic, so they're playing like Messenger of Peace and things like that. So game 1 ends up being about 30 minutes long. Their first action is activate Mudora in hand, pitch Agido, and then activate Agido to make us both mill 5. I thought we were against tier at this point, so I ashed the Agido. Then they just normal summon Mole Cricket, activate effect summoning Camellia from deck, and overlay 2 for Baguska. Like, come on, man. Somehow the game lasts another 20 minutes until our opponent gets the Naturia Sunflower set up, and it becomes apparent that they're just hammering the negate on anything we activate. So using that information to our knowledge, I bait out the Sunflower like 3 different times until it finally tributes itself off the field, allowing us to then activate Lubellion's effect to place Branded Beast, which then contribute to the Lubellion or any dragon to pop the Messenger of Peace, allowing us to finally get in the damage for game. We take game 1. Game 2, we're going second, and our opponent just sets a monster and sets 3 back row before passing turn, which isn't scary. However, in our standby phase, they fire off There Can Be Only One in Rivalry of Warlords. Thankfully, we opened evenly matched, so we go straight to the battle phase, and end of battle phase we fire that off. Opponent, of course, has Dark Bribe, so we draw a card. If we draw a second evenly matched, that would be great here, but yeah, we don't. Now, in this kind of game state, you have to ask yourself, what is the win condition now, and how do we get to it? And in this kind of situation, you need to realize that your opponent is also locked out of playing, so you're not going to die. So the best bet is to not lock yourself and probably wait until you can get a blowout, or if your opponent starts beating you down, then you can sort of react to that kind of game plan. I think the correct play in this situation is to wait until we get Polymerization, and then once we have it, we set a monster, activate Polymerization so we can make Guardian Chimera to pop one of the floodgates and continue playing from there. We can play under There Can Be Only One. Rivalry is kind of the annoying one. But of course, I'm thinking Aliber has 1800 attack, he can add Branded Fusion, so we'll just normal summon that and keep beating down his monsters until we eventually win the game. Unfortunately, that's not how it goes. Having a face-up monster on the board and locking ourselves out of playing essentially forces us to have one out in the form of Feather Duster, and that's 1 card out of our entire deck versus our opponent's like triple Dark Bribe and triple Judgment, I assume. So normal summoning the Aliber was essentially us throwing the game, but it presents us with a mistake that we can actually learn from instead of just being like stupid. It took me about 5 minutes longer than it should have to realize we were just running down the timer on the clock at this point, and probably scooped a little bit too late there. But with that in mind, 4 or 5 minutes left on the clock, we're going first in game 3, so our win condition automatically becomes summoning 1 or 2 Masquerades so that our opponent, like, as soon as they activate a card, they essentially lose. So going first, you would think summoning 1 or 2 Masquerade, if that's your game plan, you don't care about Mirror Jade or anything like that, then it's super easy in Branded Despia. However, game 3, we open Lubellion, Cartesia, Fusion Deployment, and double Ash. There is no way to make a Masquerade there. So we're essentially playing for the draw or just like turn skipping our opponent with like 1 or 2 interruptions. So activate Infusion Deployment, we summon out the Albaz, normal summon Cartesia and activate Cartesia effect, fusing for the... We have a choice between Albion and Grand Gugu, but we go for Albion here even though we can't activate its effect. Reason being, we contribute it to summon the Lubellion from hand to then place Branded Lost from the deck, and because we're going to be relying on Branded in red, it gives us an additional interruption in the form of Mercurier. So doing just that, we tribute the Albion to summon Lubellion from hand, activate Lubellion's effect, placing Lost from the deck. Our opponent tries to Ash the effect, which gives us knowledge that we essentially lose, because that's going to stop Albion in the end phase, and then we literally have a singular Ash against a matchup we don't know. So after telling them that they can Ash the Lubellion effect, they keep it in hand, we place Branded Lost, and then we just go straight to the end phase, add back Cartesia, activate Albion. Albion, of course, gets ashed, so we add Cartesia to hand and pass turn. An Ash in a Dream, baby. So our opponent starts by summoning Hugin and activating effect, discarding Sacred Tree to search for the field spell. And at the time, I did not know this matchup very well, so I didn't realize the Sacred Tree was going to get him to a synchro plays. I assumed the field spell was going to allow him to search for some way to win in time, so I ashed the Hugin effect. He's then able to just play uninterrupted, searching for the Mole Cricket off of the Sacred Tree, normal summon it and activating its effect. Because we control the Lubellion, the monster with the most attack on the field, it summons 2 from the deck, Camellia and the Sunflower, which gets into Stardust Charge Warrior, and eventually plays his way to a Scarlet Red Dragon Archfiend to burn for game. So 2 rounds, 2 losses, my head's up my ass, I'm playing like an absolute bozo, I'm tilted, we're not having a good time. I don't even record the next round. It ended up being a mirror match and we lost in time again to Masquerade, so 0-3, and it was home time at that point. It's hard to even draw any conclusions about the deck list when the player is playing it like dog shit, but I did go back to the drawing board to really study the theory behind the deck and flesh out the perfect game plan going forward. Before we get into that though, we do have some entry packs to open.
Alright, played like a complete bozo. We dropped and got our prize support. 5 packs of Photon Hypernova. There could be good cards in here. But yeah, this is gonna be such a jank opening, dude. I have no idea if the camera's gonna be reversed or we'll see. We'll see. This is a disaster. We have Humongous. We have, oh, wait. Oh, Choju of the Trillion Hands. We also have here an ultra rare Gold Pride Star Leon. Let's go. Can we get a secret rare? Wait, where's the holo? Oh, that is a super rare. What the hell? Final pack. What are we gonna get? We have Oh, no way. We actually got a secret rare Kashtira Arise Heart, man. Yo, that's so sick. Okay.
Boom, baby. Some nice trade bait, and we're gonna need it for this final stretch before YCS London. So getting into some theory here, Branded at its core is a naturally bricky and fragile deck due to the amount of do-nothing engine requirements, alongside almost every starter doing the exact same thing. Standard lists typically have 12 starters in Aliber, Branded Opening, Branded Fusion, Foolish Burial, Gold Sark, and sometimes Springgan's Kit, but the big issue with that is every starter leads to just Branded Fusion, meaning every starter in the deck loses to an Ash Blossom, hence the meme of Ash being an FTK against the deck. This is why we seen lists a year ago start playing Crossout Designator and sometimes even the Keeper engine to bring out Millennium Eyes alongside the Gas of the Patchwork engine before eventually disappearing into a format heavy on hand traps. After seeing Dragoon being played as an anti-Kashtira tech at the 3v3 YCS, I decided to look into whether it changes the inherent weakness of the deck, and it turned out the way it was being played, the deck still had the exact same weakness. With the introduction of Fusion Deployment and Cartesia, there was some additional ways of getting to Branded Fusion by dumping Retribution and Branded Fusion, but there was also some ways of playing through Ash on Branded Fusion if you have like Albaz in hand. None of it was really enough to mitigate the weakness of Ash on Branded Fusion though. Still, playing around with the idea of Dragoon in the deck anyway led me to a potentially revolutionary combo line that I haven't seen anywhere else, and it was possible before Photon Hypernova. However, with the introduction of Cartesia, it's only worth playing it after Photon Hypernova. Literally a eureka moment for me where I found out that Keeper of Dragon Magic as a normal summon can put out Dragoon before ever activating Branded Fusion. Couple this with Called by the Grave, Crossout Designator, and your starters all having different layers to them, and you have a recipe for a much more resilient Branded deck. I posted a couple of videos showcasing these new combos. If you haven't already seen them, feel free to go check them out. But while it could in theory be a bad idea revealing those combo lines before YCS London, I just had to share it as a potential step towards innovating Branded as a successful meta contender. The lists in those videos are of course slightly outdated compared to the refinements and theory I've put in since, but they act as a good frame of reference of what we're aiming for. The issue with Dragoon being an integral piece of the deck is that with Kashtira being a thing in the metagame, unlike Season 1 of Yu-Gi-Oh! From scratch where we had to hunt for 1, we have to hunt for 2. We've genuinely come full circle where Dragoon is the final big pickup for our deck of a series. So we've got a lot of trading to do and a lot of mind training to do as well so that we can focus properly on playing optimally despite the time of day. For some reason I just can't fucking play Yu-Gi-Oh! In the morning, dude. But yeah, the next episode is gonna be our YCS training arc, 3 episodes in 1 to catch you up to the current day of the series before the YCS being the finale. So buckle up, and I'll see you next time.